I never thought I'd end up staring down a billionaire in yoga pants over a goddamn dock permit. But there I was, heart pounding like a bass drum at a 4th of July barbecue, my service pistol heavy on my hip as she screamed into her iPhone, demanding the cops haul me away for trespassing on private property. The air smelled like fresh-cut grass and privilege, the kind that sticks to your throat thicker than Georgia humidity. And just when her manicured nails were about to claw my eyes out, she yanked the phone away, squinted at the glint of my FBI badge under my flannel shirt, and her Botox-frozen face cracked like cheap porcelain, froze solid, mid-rant. It started 6 months earlier, back when I was just Alex Harlan, ex-Marine turned Fed, nursing a divorce that left me with a beat-up Ford F-150 and a chip on my shoulder the size of the Smoky Mountains. I'd bought the fixer-upper cabin on Lake Whispering Pines sight unseen, a steal at $250,000 in the rolling hills of upstate New York, figuring it'd be my escape hatch from the Bureau's endless stakeouts and soul-sucking paperwork. The place was a relic, creaky pine floors, a stone fireplace that belched smoke like an old sergeant after too many smokes, but overlooked the lake like a postcard, with enough dock space for my bass boat and a 6-pack of Bud Light on lazy Sundays. Freedom, baby. Or so I thought. The first red flag waved on move-in day when a glossy brochure slapped onto my windshield. Welcome to Whispering Pines Estates HOA, preserving excellence since 1985. I chuckled, crumpling it up. I'd grown up in a double-wide in rural Tennessee, where the only association was the one between Friday nights and Pabst Blue Ribbon. HOAs? That was for soccer moms and McMansions, not a guy like me who valued his privacy more than his 401k. But this lake was gold, crystal clear, stocked with largemouth that fought like demons. And I wasn't about to let some busybody brigade cramp my style. Enter Karen Voss. Picture her, mid-50s, bottle blonde hair teased into a helmet of entitlement, lips plump to the point of permanent pout, driving a white Range Rover with KV Diva vanity plates. She wasn't just any Karen. She was the Karen, widow of a Wall Street wolf who'd cashed out in the '08 crash and left her with a 9-figure nest egg invested in everything from artisanal cheese startups to offshore hedge funds. Her McMansion sat on the lake's prime peninsula, a glass and steel monstrosity with infinity pools and imported Italian fountains that gurgled like they were mocking the rest of us peasants. Word around the bait shop was she chaired the HOA board with an iron fist wrapped in Hermes gloves, finding folks for untrimmed hedges, banning inflatable pool toys, even once reporting a neighbor's golden retriever for excessive barking that turned out to be wind chimes. I met her at the monthly HOA mixer, a potluck affair in the clubhouse that reeked of store-bought potato salad and simmering resentment. I showed up late, nursing a solo cup of lukewarm beer, when she cornered me by the folding tables. "Mr. Harlan, is it?" Her voice was all honeyed venom, eyes scanning me like I was a stain on her Berber carpet. "We've been expecting you. That cabin of yours, charming in a rustic way. But darling, the dock. It's an eyesore. The board requires aluminum with teak accents, minimum 12-foot extension. Yours looks like it washed up from a swamp." I took a slow sip, meeting her gaze. "Ma'am, I appreciate the input, but my dock's grandfathered in. Built it myself last summer. Serves its purpose, fishin', swimmin', keepin' the peace." Her laugh tinkled like shattering crystal. "Grandfathered? Oh, honey, this isn't your backwoods holler. Whispering Pines has standards. We've got multi-million-dollar properties here. Your little contraption devalues us all. Submit the application by Friday, or we'll have to escalate." She thrust a form at me, emblazoned with her monogram, and sashayed away, leaving a wake of Chanel No. 5 and quiet snickers from the other wives. Escalate? I filed it under bullshit and forgot about it, spending weekends rigging trot lines and grilling venison burgers with my old platoon buddy Mike, who drove up from Syracuse in his Harley. Life was good. Waves lapping the shore, bald eagles wheeling overhead, the kind of quiet that mends a man's frayed nerves. Until the citations started piling up. First, a $500 fine for unauthorized watercraft storage, my kayak tied to the dock like a loyal dog. Then, $200 for non-compliant landscaping, because my wild azaleas dared to bloom purple instead of the approved pastel palette. I paid the kayak one, laughed off the flowers, but when the notice came for structural violation, dock encroachment, threatening liens and foreclosure if I didn't comply within 30 days, something snapped. That night, over whiskey neat, I dug into the HOA bylaws. Buried in fine print, Karen Voss, president, treasurer, and self-appointed arbiter of aesthetics, with veto power on all waterfront mods. She'd rewritten the rules last year, post her husband's death, turning the association into her personal fiefdom. Neighbors whispered about her vendettas. A single dad fined into bankruptcy for a kiddie pool, an elderly couple evicted over cluttered bird feeders. But no one fought back. Who sues a billionaire with lawyers on speed dial? Me, apparently. I fired off an email to the board. With all due respect, my doc predates your bylaws. Enclosed. Property deeds, survey maps, photos. Let's discuss like adults. CC'd the whole damn roster, including the State Attorney General's Consumer Protection Line, just in case. Her reply hit my inbox at 2 a.m. Mr. Harlan, your discussion is noted and dismissed. Compliance or consequences? Ave. Attached. A lawyer's letterhead threatening suit for intentional nuisance. I leaned back in my Adirondack chair. Lake breeze cooling the burn in my chest. Consequences? Lady, you have no idea. See, the Bureau had me on light desk duty after a botched op in Philly left me with shrapnel scars and a therapist number on speed dial. But light duty meant access, databases, contacts, the shadowy gears that grind slow but grind fine. I started small. A FOIA request on Voss Enterprises, her late husband's shell company. Turns out, Billionaire came with baggage. Tax liens from the IRS, whispers of insider trading hushed up by fat donations to Albany Pauls. The next board meeting was a circus, held in the clubhouse, folding chairs arranged like a courtroom, Karen presiding from a throne of reclaimed barnwood. I showed up in my best Carhartt jacket, folder of docs underarm, nodding to the dozen attendees, mostly retirees in polos, avoiding eye contact. Order, she barked, gavel in hand. Actual gavel, engraved with her initials. Item 7, Mr. Harlan's doc debacle. I stood, voice steady as a sniper's breath. Evening, folks. Appreciate the time. As I emailed, my doc's legal. Here's the proof. Survey from '98, permits stamped by the county. Karen, ma'am, your bylaws don't apply retroactively. Let's vote on it fair and square. Murmurs rippled. Old Mr. Jenkins, the token dissenter with a Vietnam vet cap, grunted approval. But Karen's eyes narrowed to slits. Fair? This man thinks he can waltz in from God knows where and upend our community. That dock is a hazard. A rusty nail waiting to tetanus some poor child. I move for immediate demolition order, fines tripled. The vote was a rubber stamp, 8-2, with abstentions from the scaredy cats. As I packed up, she leaned in close, breath mints masking the rot of desperation. You think you're tough, Harlan? I've buried bigger men than you. Get in line or get out. I smiled, the kind that doesn't reach your eyes. Buried, huh? Careful, Mom. Graves have a way of digging themselves deeper. Driving home under a harvest moon, tires crunching gravel, I felt the old fire kindle. Betrayal? Nah, this was just a spark. I'd been betrayed before, by a CEO in Fallujah who hung us out to dry, by a wife who traded vows for a corner office affair. But this was personal. A lakefront bully picking on a vet scraping by on a government pension? Hell no. Time to turn the tables. Over the next weeks, I played it cool, paid the fines under protest, started renovations on the dock with salvaged lumber from the dump, making it look even more eyesore. It's just a tweaker. Might crash for a weekend, and we rigged security cams disguised as birdhouses, streaming feeds to my laptop. Sure enough, episode 1. Karen in her Peloton gear, binoculars in hand, patrolling the shore like a suburban Gestapo, snapping pics for her evidence file. But the real fun began when I tapped my network. A quick call to a buddy in Treasury's FinCEN, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and bingo, Voss's offshore accounts lit up like a Vegas slot machine. Shell companies in the Caymans, funneled through fake charities for lake preservation. Preservation my ass. It was laundering, plain and simple, skimming HOA dues to pad her portfolio. I didn't report it. Not yet. Revenge isn't about justice. It's about the slow burn. The blow-up came on a sweltering July 4th. Fireworks popping over the water, brats sizzling on grills, when Karen's posse, two beefy landscapers in her employ, rolled up in a flatbed, chainsaws humming. Demolition crew. The foreman grunted, hopping down with a clipboard. Orders from the board. I stepped out, shotgun propped casual-like against the porch rail, unloaded, but who needs to know? Badge tucked in my belt for now. Evening, gents. That's private property. Turn around. They hesitated, eyes flicking to Karen, who idled in her Rover at the tree lean, filming on her phone like it was live streaming to Fox News. The foreman shrugged. Lady says it's a hazard. Insurance liability. Hazard? I laughed, low and mean. Only hazard here's a false report. Call her off, or I will. She killed the engine, stormed over in wedge heels sinking into the dirt, phone thrust like a talisman. Harlan, this ends now. You're destroying our property values, our way of life. I'm calling the sheriff. Be my guest, I said, crossing arms. But tell him to bring coffee. This doc ain't budging. Sirens wailed distant as she dialed 911, voice pitching high. Yes, emergency. Armed trespasser at 47 Pine Bluff, threatening my workers. He's unhinged. Click. She glared triumph, lips curled. Cops will sort you, redneck. The cruiser pulled up, lights flashing, two locals in khaki spilling out. Deputy Ruiz, whom I'd bought bait from last week, and his rookie partner. Ruiz took one look at me, the doc, the chainsaws, and sighed. Alex, what's the beef? Karen sputtered. Arrest him. He's defying the HOA, illegal structure. Ruiz scratched his neck, glancing at my truck's Marine Corps sticker. Ma'am, we've been over this. Mr. Harlan's docs check out. No crime here. Her face purpled. Then you arrest him. Obstructing justice. I couldn't help it, grinned wide. Deputy, mind if I show you something? Pulled the badge, let it catch the flare of fireworks. FBI. And this. Nodded to the birdhouse cam. Footage of your workers, last week, spray painting my boat to force a sale. That's vandalism, Karen. Felony territory. She froze, phone slipping from numb fingers. The deputies exchanged looks. Ruiz radioed it in. As the sun dipped, painting the lake bloody, Karen's empire of spite began to crack. But oh, darling, we were just getting started. The fallout from that July 4th showdown hit like a nor'easter, sudden, vicious, and leaving wreckage in its wake. By dawn, Karen had lawyered up, her silver-tongued shark from Manhattan, filing an emergency injunction against the armed vigilantism on my property. The local paper ran at front page. HOA clash turns explosive. Lake resident faces charges? Never mind the facts. Outrage sells ads, and Karen fed it like chum sharks. Social media erupted. Next-door threads buzzing with anonymous posts. That Harlan guy's a menace. Armed to the teeth. Support Karen. Save our views. I hunkered down, blinds drawn against the curious drive-bys, nursing black coffee and a knot of rage that twisted tighter with every ping of my phone. Mike texted from the road. Bro, you viral yet? Lake Karen trending. Yeah, it was. Clips from her live stream, edited to make me the villain. Shotgun gleaming, voice booming private property like a threat. Comments poured in. Typical red state bully. HOAs protect us all. Stand with KV. Protect? From what? Enjoying a sunset without a fine. I'd seen real threats. IEDs in desert sand, snipers in urban sprawls. But this suburban siege warfare? It gnawed different. Personal as a sucker punch from an ex-betrayal wasn't just her lies. It was the neighbors who'd nodded hellos at the mailbox, now ghosting me like I'd sprouted horns. Mr. Jenkins stopped by once, cap in hand. Sorry, Alex. She's got pull. Donated the new clubhouse roof. Can't bite that hand. I bit mine instead, literally, chewing knuckles to keep from smashing the laptop when her next move dropped. a petition drive door-to-door to oust non-compliant residents. My name topped the list, with checkboxes for safety risk and community disruptor. By week's end, 60 signatures, including the bait shop owner who'd comp my worms. The gall, turning my haven into a witch hunt. But I wasn't built for folding. Bureau training kicked in. Assess, adapt, amplify. I leaked the cam footage to a freelance blogger with a grudge against elite enclaves. Grainy but damning, showing the landscapers under Karen's direction. Aerosol cans hissing red swastikas on my hull. Subtle, her style, blame the crazy vet. The post went nuclear. Billionaire H.O., a tyrant caught vandalizing vet's boat. Shades of entitlement abuse. Shares hit 50K overnight. Replies a bonfire of schadenfreude. Karma's docking soon. Expose her taxes next. Karen's counterpunch was swift. A press conference on her lawn, flanked by potted topiaries and a teary makeup artist. Cameras from Albany affiliates rolled as she dabbed Kleenex to dry eyes. This isn't about me. It's about safety. That man's unstable. Ex-military, they say. We just want peace on our lake. Unstable? I'd take unyielding any day, but the spin stuck, painting me as Rambo reject terrorizing grannies. The real gut punch landed mid-August, heat wave baking the asphalt like forgotten pie. I got a call from HR at the field office. Harlan, this media circus, it's a distraction. Suspension pending review. No badge work till it cools. Suspended? For defending my home? The betrayal burned hotter than desert sun. Uncle Sam, who'd sent me to hell and back, now benching me over some rich witch's tantrum. I paced the dock at midnight, stars mocking from the void, fists clenched till nails drew blood. Screw it. I muttered to the lapping waves. Time to go rogue. Rogue meant deeper digs. I hit the dark web forums, vets swapping war stories and grudges, posting anonymized queries on Voss. Threads lit up. That bitch foreclosed my aunt in 12 faked inspections. Her charity gala? Front for laundering art deals. Puzzle pieces clicked. Her husband's suicide in '09? Sta. Para redacta corones nota via favor frumamatag vinipao. Overdose on Fenolay scotch, but the talk screen screamed foul play. Enough to reopen if leverage applied right. I started small count-to-moves, psychological jabs to fray her nerves. Anonymous letters to the board, typed on library computers. Ask KV about the $2 million dues discrepancy in 20. Where'd the pool fund go? Whispers spread like kudzu. Meetings grew tense, Jenkins piping up more. Then, the prank calls, spoof numbers, heavy southern drawl. Heard you're short on dock teak, Karen. Ship a load from a Caymans. Click. Her rover started sporting bumper stickers overnight. I'd rather be vandalizing boats and HOA. Homeowners oppressed annually. She escalated, of course. Late September, a process server banged on my door with a summons. Defamation suit. $10 million in damages for slanderous leaks. I laughed, signing for it with flourish, then forwarded copies to every state rep in a 50-mile radius. See attached. Pattern of HOA abuse. The AG's office perked up. Antitrust vibes. Misuse of nonprofit status. Her lawyer scrambled, but cracks showed. A board member resigned, citing ethical concerns. Harvest season brought a brief truce. Corn mazes glowing gold. Air crisp with cider and change. I hosted a dock party for the holdouts. Jenkins, the single dad from downshore. A few renters thumbing noses at the elite. We roasted marshmallows, swapped tall tales, bass thumping from a Bluetooth speaker. For a night, the lake felt like mine again. Laughter echoing off water. Fireflies dancing like lost souls. But peace is fragile as frost on pumpkins. October, gale howled in, ripping leaves and resolve. Karen's next play, a midnight raid. I woke to floodlights piercing the dark, her security team. Rent-a-cops in ill-fitting vests, swarming the dock with battering rams. Eminent domain proxy, the lead barked, citing a bogus emergency variance she'd rammed through a quorum-less board. Hammers swung, pine splittered like bones. I burst out barefoot, Glock holstered, safety on, roaring, "Back off." That's destruction of property. Chaos erupted, spotlights blinding, radios crackling. One goon tripping into the shallows with a yelp. Karen watched from her deck across the cove, silhouette smug under sodium glow. I hit record on my phone, capturing the circus. October 15th, 2:17 a.m. HOA-sanctioned vandalism. Sirens again. Ruiz this time with backup. He cuffed the crew pending warrants, but not before Karen slithered down in a silk robe. Pearls askew. "Officers, this man's assaulting my employees." Ruiz, weary his job, held up a hand. "Ma'am, we got video. This your call." Her paws stretched eternal, wind whipping blonde strands like Medusa snakes. "I authorized remediation for the community." "Remediation," I echoed, stepping close enough to smell her fierce sweat under lavender lotion. "Like spray paint? Or fake suicides?" Her eyes bulged, froze again, that porcelain mask fracturing. The deputies hauled her crew away. She retreated, robe billowing like surrender. But as taillights faded, I knew this war was cresting. Waves crashed angry, mirroring the storm in my gut. Revenge tasted sweet, but hollow. Betrayal's echo endless. November fog rolled in thick as guilt, cloaking the lake in gray veils that muffled chainsaw scars on my dock and the howls of backlash brewing online. Karen's defamation suit ballooned to a circus, depositions scheduled, her lawyers deposing neighbors like hostile witnesses in a mob trial. Did Mr. Harlan ever threaten violence? They'd probe, fishing for sound bites. Jenkins held firm. Nah, just stood his ground. KV's the one slinging mud. But others cracked. The bait shop guy recanted his petition sig, mumbling about business pressures. Pressure? Try veiled threats. Lose that vet's custom, or watch your taxes adjust. I felt the squeeze too. Suspension dragged into indefinite leave. The bureaus shrink up my sessions to twice weekly, probing anger displacement like I was the loose cannon. "Alex, this fixation, it's not healthy. Channel it constructively." Constructive? I'd channeled IED rage into marksmanship medals, marital bliss into alimony checks. Now this? A lakeside Alamo against a trust fund tornado. Nights blurred into shot glasses of Jack, staring at case files on Voss. Wire transfers to a Dubai shell tied to her hubby's suicide payout. Motive? She'd cashed his life insurance fat, but whispers said he was cleaning house on her indiscretions. Affairs with pool boys, insider tips from jealous lovers. The media pivot came swift, Thanksgiving Eve. A podcaster from a city, upstate unmasked, dropped episode 47, Lake of Lies, inside the Voss vendetta. I was the unnamed source, feeding docs piecemeal. Bylaws rewritten in blood-red ink, dues diverted to her Cayman condo fund. It unspooled like a Dateline special. Interviews with evictees, audio of board meetings where Karen's voice cracked whip, sign or sink. Download spiked. Voss exposed trended, memes of her in a crown of thorns, scepter a gavel dripping fines. Her response? Nuclear winter. Black SUVs prowled the loop, private eyes tailing my F-150 to the diner, snapping plates. One night, brakes failed on a downhill, pad slashed clean. I limped to the shoulder, pulse hammering, calling Ruiz sabotage. Get forensics. He did, but evidence evaporated like dew. Tires matched a ghost fleet registered to a Voss subsidiary. Coincidence? In her world, sure. Mine? Bullshot. Community fractured deeper. Holiday lights twinkled defiant on compliant homes, but my cabin stayed dark, a black hole sucking cheer. The single dad, Tom, slipped a pie to my porch. Hang in, brother. Kids ask about the dock warrior. Warrior. Felt more like wounded, scars itching under flannel. Mike rode up for Turkey Day, lugging a cooler of craft IPAs and a .3084 target practice. We blasted cans off stumps, venting steam. She's unraveling, man. Saw her at the market, shaking, yelling at the butcher over prosciutto thickness. Unraveling hit warp speed December. Board dissolved in scandal. 3 quits. Jenkins elected interim prez. tabling all fines. Karen holed up, curtains drawn, but not before lashing out. A blistering open letter emailed chain-wide, betrayed by traitors among us. Me? That interloper with his fabricated tales. Fabricated? I'd offered her Olive Branch, a mediated sit-down at the clubhouse, neutral arbiter from county mediation. She ghosted it, opting for scorched earth. The scorched came Christmas week. Blizzard dumped 2 feet, power lines snapping like wishbones. I shoveled out at dawn, breath fogging like dragon smoke, when her rover fishtailed up, plow-scarred, wipers slapping fury. She burst out bundled in shearling, face gone under fur hood, eyes wild as cornered fox. Harlan, you did this. Your leaks, your war. The board's crumbling, investigations circling like vultures. My home, my legacy ruined. I leaned on shovel, snowflakes melting on lashes. Legacy? You mean the empire built on bullying folks out of their peace? Ma'am, I just held a mirror. She lunged, gloved hands clawing air inches from my face. Mirror? You're a parasite. Ex-soldier playing hero, but your broken, divorced desk job, hiding in this shack. I built this community from nothing. Standards, beauty. Beauty? I cut in, voice steel. You mean control. Faking reports, tampering breaks. That's not building, that's burying. Her freeze returned, lips parting on a gasp, froze deeper this time, horror dawning as headlights pierced fog. State troopers, cherries flashing, summoned by an anonymous tip. Mine, via burner. They cuffed her gentle-like, reading rights for the vandalism, the sabotage, evidence chain airtight, FinCEN warrants attached for the laundering. Mrs. Voss, you're under arrest. She thrashed, snow flying. This is harassment. I'll sue, every one of you. But as they loaded her, gaze locked mine, pleading, broken, the mask shattered. No triumph in it, just pity's sour aftertaste. Betrayal's blade cuts both ways. Hers had nicked me too, leaving scars on trust. The storm broke literal next morn, sun gilding hoarfrost like fool's gold. Neighbors trickled by, Jenkins with coffee, Tom with mittens for my non-existent kids. It's over, Alex. Board's repealing the dock rule tomorrow. Over? Felt suspended, like a gut-shot buck staggering shoreward. Bureau cleared me January thaw, badge polished, but the lake's whisper turned accusatory, waves hissing vigilante, wind moaning unstable. Might clap my back. You won, brother. But winds taste like ash sometimes. Ash, yeah. Karen's trial loomed spring. Federal rap for fraud, state for assault. Plea deal whispers, community service, restitution. Bitter pill for a queen dethroned. Me? I rebuilt the dock taller, teak accents be damned, salute to spite. But freedom rang hollow, echo chamber of what-ifs. Had I gone too far? Or not far enough? Spring thaw cracked ice like brittle bones, unleashing a torrent that swelled the lake to chocolate fury, mirroring the deluge of depositions in Karen's unraveling saga. I testified first week of March, suit starched stiff as my resolve, federal courthouse in Syracuse a hive of fluorescent buzz and bad coffee. Her lawyers, three-piece sharks circling chum, grill me like a suspect. Agent Harlan, isn't it true you provoked this with anonymous smears? A vendetta against a grieving widow. Grieving? I leaned into the mic, voice steady as Lake Huron chop. Provoked? Ma'am, she vandalized my property, endangered lives. I defended. That's the oath, civilian or fed. Jury murmured, her eyes, across the aisle, bored holes. Hate distilled to venom. Botox failing against crow's feet of defeat. The trial dragged April blooms, evidence unspooling like fishing line. Emails her hackers couldn't scrub, witness flips from cowed neighbors. Tom's testimony gutted her. She fined my pool, caused my boy's autistic splash, and scared her Pomeranian. Called CPS Anonymous. Jenkins on the dues scam, $50,000 monthly to maintenance, but her Caymans wired the same. The laundering? Nail in coffin. FinCEN trails tying her to hubby's suicide. Fake to claim policies clean. Jury deliberated 2 days. Verdict dropped May Day. Guilty, 15 counts, 8 to 10 stretch in white-collar wing at Alderson. Her sentencing was theater, silk blouse wilted, no pearls, flanked by siblings who hadn't visited in years. Judge, a no-nonsense upstate Irish woman, hammered gavel. Mrs. Voss, your privilege blinded you to decency. Restitution, $2.3 million to victims, including Mr. Harlan. Incarceration, 8 years, eligible parole in 4. Karen rose, voice reed thin. This is injustice. I preserved beauty. Beauty at whose expense? Judge snapped. Court adjourned. Outside, media scrums swallowed her, mics thrusting like bayonets. I slipped side door, Ruiz waiting in his cruiser. Fancy suit fed. Beers on me. We hit O'Malley's, corner booth sticky with spills, toasting with Sam Adams, to Doc's and downfall. But victory soured summer swelter. A reborn under Jenkins, Democratic, dues capped, wildflowers encouraged. Neighbors thawed. Invites to barbecues, kids cannonballing off my rebuilt pier. Yet isolation lingered, a shadow under sun. Bureau reassigned me to Albany Cyber Unit, desk deeper but demons quieter. Therapy helped unpack the rage. Alex, revenge cycled the betrayal. Wife's lies commands ghosts. Voss was catalyst, not cause. Catalyst. Fitting. Fall foliage peaked October, anniversary of the raid. Gales stripping maples bare as her defenses. I walked the shore alone, skipping stones that plunked echoes. One for the divorce papers I'd burned that solstice. One for Fallujah, sand still gritty in dreams. One for a freeze-frame face, etched indelible. Karen appealed, lost November, final as frostbite. Parole hearing loomed 29, but whispers said she'd shatter inside. Bunkmates hate Karen's worse than snitches. Bitter? Yeah. Her empire dust, but mine scarred too. Trust eroded like dock pilings. Relationships tentative as spring ice. Mike's wedding pulled me south Christmas. Nashville honky-donk, boot stompin' to steel guitar. Bride, a fiery redhead EMT. Hugged me fierce. Heard your tale. Hero stuff? Hero? Felt fraud. Saviors don't wake sweating sabotage. Back north. New Year's Eve, Lake Silver under moon, I hosted Final Bash, fire pit roaring, s'more sticky, tails tall as pines. Tom raised bottle. To Alex, guardian of the deep. Laughter rippled. For a beat, belonging bloomed. But dawn brought clarity, cold as black coffee. I listed the cab in February. Sold quick to a young couple. No HOA scars, dreaming kids and kayaks. Proceeds bank therapy. A down payment on Montana anonymity. Big sky, no covenants, just endless blue. Driving out May, U-Haul groaning, I paused dockside one last glance. Waves whispered forgiveness. Nah, lessons, betrayal's chain, breakable but binding. Karen's freeze? Mirror to my own, rigid in grudge, thawed slow. Somewhere in white-collar hell, she penned letters. Unopened in my P.O. box, return to sender stamped. No reply needed. Story closed, epilogue unwritten. Freedom's true taste? Not ash, but open road. Tires humming west, rear view fading pines.